Hello, I just thought I'd make a quick video about all the things that could go wrong when you're trying to do or try and replicate what I've created in this series. So let's go through. So first off, let's make a composition. Let's call it test, all right? So don't worry about this. As long as you can get a composition up, then that's completely fine. This is not what I'm worried about. So just imagine you're making loads of compositions and then you're working on something and oops, you click on something else and you're on something different. Just be aware that you've got, it's almost like window tabs up here. So look, we've got a test all the way down here, which I've just created, which I want to work in. And that may be one of the reasons why you can't see what you need to see. Secondly, if I draw a square in here, all right? Don't worry about the size and stuff like that. And sometimes if I double click on something, another window comes up here. As long as you're in the composition test, then make sure that you're in there, okay? And then you're actually in your composition. Finally, well not finally, sorry. If you're, oh, bless me, sorry about that. Next, if you want to move your anchor point, then obviously you click on the actual layer. If I've got caps lock selected and then I create some position keyframes or something like that, don't worry about this. I just want you to see the actual thing. Can you see how that red thing comes up? That's refresh disabled. Release caps lock to refresh view. So all you have to do is just make sure that caps lock's not selected, and then you won't have any issues there. Next, if your like work area does not look the same as mine, you can go to workspace and mine's on default. Okay. And next, if yours looks like this and you somehow just drag things across and then everything goes horribly awry, okay, and it looks something like this, all you have to do is go to Window, Workspace, and then reset to default location. And then look, it resets everything. Right, perfect. And look, we're all at the ways here and not in test. So look, I've got my composition, my project file. If you can't see this, then make sure you go to, it should be up now, just with Workspace and on default and reset. But if you can't see it, just making sure that you just click on this here, so Window, Workspace, and reset to default. Even if I go into like minimal, say, I won't be able to see it, so I have to make sure that I'm on default, okay? And so here, I can just double click on test and then I'm there. Next, if I go to my, I keep on talking about my value graph, okay? Just make sure that you actually are on the value graph and not the speed graph, which is very easy if someone's used the computer before you. So if I double click on there and then I've got the edit speed graph, I want to be on the edit value graph at the start of this series, because later on I talk about the speed graph, okay? So that's one other thing. If you can't see anything, just make sure that you're pressing this fit all graphs to view, and that will help you out no end. If you want to zoom out of your comp, then you can do that down here, which is really important, okay? I think that about covers it. Oh, if you zoom in on your timeline, if you're like way zoomed in like this, you got this down here, and so you can just go to fit there, and that snaps your view to where you need it to be. Especially if you like hit the middle of your mouse button and you scroll in and out, that's one thing that could happen. Next, if you can't see your anchor point for some reason, it might be because this button's unselected. Okay, so make sure that's got blue around it, then you can actually see everything that you need to see. So that may be deselected. Yeah, make sure you're on active camera. I think that's another thing that may go awry. If you want to change your color, and if someone's gone like this before and you can't actually make sure that you select a color, what you can do is click on here. So make sure that you've got the arrow tool selected. You go on to fill, click on the actual word fill, and then you can click on fill here. If you've got stroke, you can do exactly the same if you want to stroke on your objects, which I didn't for the whole of these series. So I clicked on stroke and then I've got that down there. I think that's the main issue that they're the main issues that you may have. As always, if you click on the layer, hit enter, that's how I rename things. If you want to duplicate things, I'm just pressing Command and D or Control C and V, and that copies and pastes as well. If I use Command in my tutorials and you're on a PC, just be aware that that's Control. I do say it throughout, but just making sure that you are aware that there are some differences. I think that should cover everything. If not, oh yeah, this is another thing that may happen. So if you're on the timeline and then it's just going like, and you're hitting space and it's not doing anything, just make sure that your work area is all the way up to there. I think that should cover everything. Yeah, I think that should cover everything. When I'm working with text, maybe, if I'm typing out my text, just making sure that you've got the character tab at the top. So you see character there? Window and then character. And that's where I can actually edit my text. If you can't see everything, just drag that down there. If you can't see a line, once again, window and then a line, and then I just make sure I tick on it twice, just making sure I can actually finally see it. Okay? All right. Good luck, and I wish you all the best.